Hi everybody, this is your patina demo. Patina, just so you know, is this substance that is a chemical and it will react with your solder in order to color the seams. And we have 3 different patinas that you can choose from. Patina is a finishing technique that you will do after you've got all your projects soldered and everything is all washed off. You don't wax, as I've got a little thing over here on the wall saying frame, patina, wax, paint. That's the order of operations, just like in math class. But we'll go with framing is in a different demo, but patina for right now is what we're going to focus on. Patina, like I said, is just a chemical reaction with your solder. And there are 2 patinas, but there are 3 different finishes. And up here, I've got on the wall just what those bottles will look like, because it depends on the brand that we use. But we've got this bottle here. This is black, and it says black patina for lead and solder. There's also this black patina. It says for zinc. Zinc is not solder, so read the label. This is for something entirely different, but it is available. So this will be in your framing demo. And you've got copper patina. Copper patina will look either like this or it will look like this. And it has a gold label. And so it has it in French. It says copper patina for solder. So that's what you're looking for. And we have it in this lovely little container right here. You apply the patina in 2 different ways. Now I'll just show you first what the patina looks like. This is the black patina, and it's actually just a little bit brown. And you can't really see it very well, but it is the most commonly used patina. And then there is what's called gunmetal, and we actually discovered this by mistake. This is what happens when you apply the black patina and then you remove it using a green scrubby, and we'll show you that. And then this is copper patina. Copper patina is if you had set up your project all in the jig and you said, wow, I really like what this looks like. Before you add the solder and you see the foil, you see your foiled project and you say, wow, I really like the color of the foil mixed with the glass colors. Well, you can retain that color by just choosing copper patina after you've got everything all done soldering. So to apply the black patina, you use a paper towel, just a wadded up paper towel. Now, and then with the copper patina, you use a toothbrush. And the toothbrush is only used for the copper patina. Do not use the toothbrush with the black, because the chemicals will mix, and then we get some unhappy people who get some unhappy patina on their projects. So the step that you involve when you're doing your patina is you make sure you've got all your soldering done, which is why we actually do the framing first, because you have to do some soldering on your frame. But if you wanted to do your patina, you keep your project really clean. That's the first thing. You keep your flux rinsed off of your project throughout the soldering, because we want to make sure that the flux does not react with the patina, because they do, especially with the copper patina. The copper patina is really ultra sensitive. So keep your project clean. That's the first project, or that's the first step that you do when you're wanting to do your patina. Get all your soldering done. Then you wash your flux off completely. All right, so you have a completely clean project. So it should not have any flux on it whatsoever. Get all your solder spatters off, scratch all those solder little bits off before you do this. And then, I'm going to put these aside because we need to protect the countertops. The countertops are very, they're susceptible for staining. And if there's any patina left on the counter when you do this, if somebody else puts their project on the counter and there's any residual patina, you're going to get patina on their project. And then they might not be too happy about it. So we've got a clean, regularly soldered project here. And I'm going to do parts of all the different finishes on this particular project here. So when you're doing the black patina, you just take the black. It's very simple. There's no brain activity involved with this except putting a little bit on your, it's blue, putting it on your paper towel, and you just apply. And it's an instant chemical reaction. All right? So then when you want to do, and you just apply it everywhere. You apply it front, back, If you want to only do one side, that's okay. That's not a problem. If you want to take it off, if you want to do any, if you just want to take off any extra, just use the dry part of the paper towel. And then once you've got your whole thing all patinaed, then you can wax it. If you want to rinse the project off, you can, but you can only rinse off the black. You can't mix any water with the copper. So once we've got this all done and you say, well, I'd like to see what the gunmetal looks like. You take a green scrubby, and on this black patinaed surface, and you can do this selectively, you can have some parts black, and then you can take away some parts if you want to. You take a green scrubby, and making sure not to scratch your glass, you just scrub just the solder seams. And what this will do is it will just remove a little bit of the black patina. Once you put the black patina on, there's no going back. This is as far back as you can go. And this is how we discovered it by mistake. There was a person who didn't like what the black patina looked like years ago. And I said, well, I don't know. Let's try taking it off with a green scrubby because it's the only thing that you really can use. And then when we did, it had this gunmetal effect. And we liked it. And so this is what you'll do, and you can dry off your project, and then you're free to wax it once you've got this part done. All right, you can just patina your project and be done with it after you've waxed it and turn it in just like that. You don't have to frame your project. And like I said, framing will be in a different demo. When you go to do your copper patina is very sensitive. You have to make sure your project is rinsed off of all your patina. It has to be dry, rinsed off of all your flux, and then it needs to be dry. Keep it clean throughout your soldering. Always wash off your flux at the end of the period, wash off at the end of the day, and just keep it clean like that because flux tends to get embedded into the solder. So you're going to use a toothbrush for this, and just again, please reserve the toothbrush only for the copper patina, all right? You'll put just a little bit into the cap. Don't put more than you need. Just put just a little bit. It's bright blue. And what ends up happening is if you were to dip this toothbrush right into the container, it starts getting contaminated. And this bright blue starts turning into a yucky brown. And it won't do a nice bright copper patina like you want for this. This is the ideal. Once you wax it, it stays that way until it gets oxidized, and then you have to clean it off again with more wax later on, months down the line. But you will just take this and just scrub it directly. And I don't know why, but paper towel does not really work very well when you're applying the copper patina. It just doesn't. So it just needs to be scrubbed. I think it just needs a little bit more aggressive of an application. That's why you have to use the toothbrush with the copper. So we've got this, and this is what copper patina looks like. All right? You can't really do anything with this once you remove it. If you want to try and remove it, it's going to go back to the gunmetal. That's what it's going to look like. If you want it to look darker than this, you can apply black patina over top of it for sort of a bronze look. But I have to emphasize that to get all the extra wetness off of your project, to get ready to wax it, because you will wax it right after you patina, you just wipe off the extra with a paper towel, okay? Do not immerse a freshly coppered patina project in water. It will not work. The water will spoil the patina. It mixes it up funny with all the minerals and stuff that are in there. So try really hard to keep water away from your copper patinaed project. You can frame it and you can wax it and then be done. Okay, so those are your 3 patina options. And like I said, you can just, once you get done soldering your project, you can patina your project, then wax it, and then you can turn it in. Or you can frame it, which again is in a different demo.